don't rest on your achievements. Don't say, yes, now I'm a manager, oh, now I'm a supervisor. There's nothing more to aim for. There's always a higher place to go to. There's always room at the top. Room, even if there's no room, if your talent is identified, room can be created for you. So don't rest on your laurels. And then attend conferences. I mean, most things people learn these days is when you interact, when you attend conferences. There are several of them. Look for conferences that apply to your sector. Different industries have different conferences. Some could be expensive, some could be free, some could be cheap. So look for the ones you can. Don't just think, oh no, it's too expensive, I can't attend this. There are always others that are cheap that you can always attend. So very important, attend conferences. Talk to organizers, talk to people that speak at conferences. Most people that are selected to speak at those conferences are very smart people. They're people that have significant experience. So find a way to move close to them and learn from them. Very important. And then improve your communication skills, your verbal and your written skills. A lot of people, unfortunately, I've been on several interview boards or several interview panels. The graduates we are turning out in Nigeria is sad sometimes. People can't communicate. And if you can't, I can't know what you have in your head if you don't tell me what you have in your head. So in order to grow, in order to project yourself and make yourself relevant, you must improve your communication skills, written and verbal. So I said something. Communication skills are still imperative in the globalized workplace. I mean, the world is global now. Everything is, now we have all our guests. Everybody's online and watching us. You have meetings with people in different countries, different time zones. So you must understand that the world is global now. With workforce distributed across the globe, one may have to work with people of different cultural backgrounds. Should also understand that we have differences. I mean, there was a time I was working with some Dutch guys. In Nigeria, we're used to, I'm not saying greeting people is bad, very important, but you need to understand that these particularly people that are not Nigerians, the way we have to greet everybody, kneel down, they see it like, okay, what are you trying to do? So you must be able to understand that balance. Communication doesn't only mean reading and writing. You must be able to read people, emotional intelligence, understand how people want to be addressed, and address them that way. Otherwise, you might be thinking you are doing something good, whereas the person might feel insulted. So it's very important. And then I also said, so I've talked about communication, improve your communication skills, very important. Learn how to be a better communicator by reading books or enrolling in local classes to sharpen your highly required skills. Like I said, there is nothing you want to do that you will need to communicate. You will write, you will attend meetings, you will talk to people, so it's very important. I also said, take up additional responsibilities. These days, an average Nigerian, people just say Nigerians are hardworking. I say Nigerians are lazy. We only work when we are forced to work. Learn to take up additional responsibilities at work. Maybe there's a big task that everybody is trying to avoid. Talk to your boss. Oh, I can try this. I can take this up. Don't shy away from taking up responsibilities. People say, they are not paying me to do that, But while you are doing it, you are learning, you are training yourself as well. So you need to take up additional responsibilities. Very, very important. I said, asking your boss to let you take up a high-profile project can help you improve your visibility at your organization. If there's a project that is very important to the company and you're the one handling it, for sure everybody will know you. You will have a chance to meet with the MD, you have a chance to meet with maybe a lot of managers and stuff. So always seek to take very important projects, even if they're not yours. Offer to help. If you are told, oh, sorry, it's not in your field, it's okay, but make sure you offer to help. Very important. It improves your visibility. I have an example, right? So I had this colleague, a former colleague. He's living in Norway now. So while we were working together then, there was, this software that we were using. Everybody has, of course, you have an administrator that will do some work, people that will do some modeling and engineering and design and stuff. So this guy, out of curiosity, he learned everything. So there was a time he got an opportunity, he moved to Norway. When he was working, they would ask him, this is your job. He said, I can do this and this and this too. Eventually, that guy was doing the job of 3 people. But when the recession started, that was 2015 or thereabout, we had a problem in the oil and gas sector then. Laid off everybody. He was the only foreigner that was retained in the company. He got to a point, they sent him to Saudi Arabia. His salary was probably tripled. And that was because he had learned over time. He didn't restrict himself to the only thing he was asked to do, but he learned everything. So very important, always take up additional responsibilities and tasks. It will help you to hone your skills. Then I also said something, so this might now contradict what I said earlier. I said, make sure you specialize, right? Because you are trying to do several other things doesn't mean you shouldn't specialize in an area. If you specialize in a particular area, when people are looking for people that have that skill set, they know who to go to. So while you're trying to understand everything, make sure there's something everybody knows, this one, no, forget, that guy is the best. If you spread yourself so thin, or they're asking for people that can program because you heard they're paying programmers so much, oh, I can program as well. They are looking for people that can sweep the floor, oh, I can sweep the floor as well. But people will now be wondering, okay, what exactly is your real specialization? So it's very important, specialize. While you spread yourself, there's something about me, know something about everything. But there must be something that you know everything about, right? So while you're trying to know something about everything, make sure there's something you know everything about. Very, very important. It will help you improve your visibility. And then I also said something very important. You have to be dependable, be reliable, and be a person of integrity. If in your place of work, they know that, oh, once you give it to this person, no, go to bed. Guaranteed, your results are guaranteed. Or okay, maybe they want to go and do some negotiation for maybe on behalf of the company, oh, just send this person there. You're guaranteed. So I'll use myself as an example. My current workplace, it was started by a group of friends that I know. We worked together before. They moved out about 5-6 years ago. We were working together and they moved out. The position I'm filling now, they had tried to fill that position 3 times. It got to a point, the MD just said, just leave that space for Kenny. When he's ready, he will come and join us. That's where I want him to be. And that's because we've worked together. He knows if you give me 1 naira, I'll give you account to the point. There were several opportunities to make a lot of money. I'm talking about a lot of money now, but there's always something about me. I always tell my wife, I want to be able to sleep at night. I want you to call me and say, well, we are checking social records. I will tell you everything from my head. I don't want to be thinking, okay, this person that we did this deal together, has that guy spoken, has he said something? So, I had friends buying cars of 100 million, 80 million twice in a year. But it got to a point I thought, no. When things will when stuff hit the fan, everybody will be in trouble. So, as much as possible, be dependable. Don't trade your integrity. One way or the other, it will speak for you at some point. Very important. Then I also said, you need to understand workplace politics. It is real. You'll be lying to yourself if you think what will get you to the top is only your skill set. You need to understand the impact your supervisor or your manager has on your career. When they're talking about you, when they're taking decisions, you won't be in the room, right? When my wife started working then, my wife wears her emotions on her sleeves. If there's something she's not happy about, she tells you straight up. I said, hey, you can't keep doing this. The other day her boss got her upset. She told her outright, I said, no. When things start happening, you won't be there. They will just, even if the person doesn't even need to say anything, they will just say, Mr. Demi, that one, no, I don't know. That's it. Because the person didn't even say anything, the person has said a lot already. Because that's the person you're working with directly. You must find a way. I'm not saying you should now be a bootlicker, anything person does, but find a way to manage your boss and your superiors. When they are taking decisions on your career, you will not be in the room. So it's very, very important. I also said, I'm running out of time. Oh yeah, I have just 5 minutes, I'll be done. I said, ensure proficiency in your work tools. Any work tool you are given, make sure you understand how to use it perfectly. There was this guy I met, Nigerian LNG. He's a regular staff, but what his boss knew him for is that anything you give him to do, he finds an easier way to do it with Excel. Name it, anything. Any data set, anything you ask him to do. This guy comes, he works like clock. Resumes 8 o'clock, closes by 4. But anything you ask him to do, he's done it, finds an easier way to do it. Very efficient. So very important. Make sure you understand how to use your work tools. Very, very important. Every employer wants an efficient worker. So you need to be able to do that. And also I said, focus on the big picture. Consider the business as yours and take actions like it is yours. Use your specialized skills to help your company achieve greater things. Remember, your ongoing employment is tied directly to your company's success. If the company crashes, you will lose your job as well. Even if you get another one, you probably sit at home for 3, 4, 5 months. So understand it. Focus on the big picture. This company exists so that I can also have my job. Very important. And I also said network. You're only as good as the people around you, as people you know, particularly in Nigeria, even in other places. The people you know are people that will recommend you for a job or recommend you for a raise. They will be the ones to open up opportunities to you. So it's very important. I said, building relationships with industry peers will enable you to gain a broader perspective of what's going on in your field. While learning new work styles and problem-solving approaches, you can start by meeting employees of different ages at your current company and then branch out to industry professionals outside your employer. Continue to expand your professional network within the industry. It isn't easy, but the more networking you do, the more comfortable you get at doing it, and the more successful you will be. I also said, form strategic alliances. Don't just make friends. Make friends that will have positive impact on your career in particular. Very important. I also said, build a social media presence. I'm not saying, of course, it depends on your line of business, but build a social media presence, particularly LinkedIn, particularly for those that have white-collar jobs. A lot of people get employed by just people seeing their profile on LinkedIn, so very important. Build a social media presence, and also be careful what you say on social media too. It can make or mar you. I've seen people lose job opportunities just because of what they said on Twitter. Someone will just say, if this was the person that was insulting me the last time, what's your Twitter handle? They'll just check, this one, sorry, that's it. So very important, be careful what you say on social media. It can make or mar you. And then I also said sacrifices, trade-offs, and delayed gratification. There's nothing good that comes easy. In order to go to the top of the hill, you have to climb. You get tired, you lose breath. So there are certain things you will have to sacrifice or trade off in your attempt to get to the height of your career. For some, social, maybe instead of going to parties, you might have to spend time studying. For some it could even be relationships. There are some, because if you're not with the right partner, the right spouse, it can ruin your career sometimes as well. If you have problems at home, you won't be able to focus at work. So there are always these trade-offs, so we should understand that. And I also said, stay in shape. An active mind, an active body houses an active mind. You can't perform well at work if you're always tired and lethargic. So stay in shape, exercise, work out, and your mind will function well. I also said, ageism. Understand that age, because you are the oldest person in the room, doesn't mean you'll be the boss. So understand that, because I have a friend, she's in Canada now. She said the first day she resumed, her manager was a 24-year-old guy. She struggled, but she said eventually she just thought, it's work. So understand, in order for you to climb up in your career as well, understand that age doesn't really matter. Finally, I said divine direction, Oriofe. No matter how hard we try, if God doesn't sanction it, we can't get anywhere. So we should understand that God factor is always very important, and it always comes into play. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Kenny. We appreciate you. That was so precise, and I believe our online audience, we're already catching the flow. We need to go up. There are so many points to talk about. I believe as our second speaker speak about what she has in store for us, as I introduce my co-host, he's a gentleman and let me forget all his titles, but he's Brosukomi Akinpelumi, sorry. Brosukomi Akinpelumi. So I'll give him the mic so that I can introduce our second speaker. And after then, we'll do a review of the things they have said, and straight away we'll go to receive your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody, and welcome to day 2 of this wonderful and great conference. I believe you are already having a great time. you're already experiencing or getting experiences from these words being shared. Let me move quickly to introduce our guest. She'll be teaching us about saving, how to actually get to the top when it comes to saving. And I don't want to waste time. She's a general manager too. I think I learned recently she's the CFO. Don't let me begin to mention names, but she's a chief financial officer in a particular big brand that we know in Nigeria. Please welcome with me to this wonderful occasion, Mrs. Omolara Nwando. Thank you very much. Please let's welcome her with a clap. Welcome her.
Thank you. Point of correction, please. I'm not a CFO. I once acted in that designation. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? It's loud and clear. Okay. Thank God for the privilege to share. I think initially when I was contacted and asked to speak about savings and investment, I said, who am I to speak about savings and investment? I'm not an investment banker, neither am I a treasurer. But by the grace of God, the little knowledge that I have, I would share as quickly as possible. 20 minutes, right? Okay, so let's start by looking at what is savings and investment. Someone, please scroll. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So what is savings and investment? I think the picture is quite clear. We see saving money there. That's a piggy bank. What we know locally to be called the kolo. That's your piggy bank. And this slide has moved. Please back to that slide. And savings is simply when you have money and you keep it in a place, you lock it up in your place. So whether it's in your kolo, whether it's under your pillow, under your bed, you dig a ground and put it in there, that is savings. And then the second one, tells us about investment. And we can see in that slide or in that picture, we see the tree or the plant growing out of that bottle. So simply the difference is savings is when you take your money and you keep it in a particular place to keep it safe. You hide it. It is still intact there. Investment is when you put it into a venture where it will grow. So that means that money will not remain the same as what it was when you put it in there. Next slide, please. So just to quickly remind us that the concept of savings and investment is biblical, is ordained by God. I call it seed time and harvest. And when you look at Genesis 8, verse 22, there you find that God has promised that as long as earth endures and seed time and harvest will not cease, summer, winter, day and night will never cease. So the times and the seasons, I see summer and winter being like day and night, being like the ups and downs, that those do happen. And then also that when you do so, that you will reap a harvest. That's the promise of God. And I want to quickly take us into a story. I call it the parable of the CEO of a bank and the shoe shine man. This happened in New York. And the CEO of a bank, every morning he went to the shoe shine man to have his, at the corner of the street, to have his shoes shined. And one morning as he sat down, the shoe shine man asked him a question. He said, "What do you think of the stock market situation?" And the bank CEO was quite surprised. What's the shoe shine man asking me about a stock market situation? So he said, "Why are you so interested in this subject?" Looking down on him. And the man said, "Well, I have $1 million invested in your bank, and I am thinking about investing part of the money in the stock market." And the director said, "What's your name?" He told him his name, Mr. Smith, and he said, "Okay." So he went back to the bank and he found out in his records that indeed Mr. Smith, the shoe shine man, has $1 million in his bank. And then he went back to Mr. Smith, the shoe shine man, and asked him that he's going to invite him to the meeting, of his the next board meeting that they're going to have, that he wants him to tell his story to the members of the board. And at the board meeting, Mr. Smith was introduced and he was asked to tell the story of his life. And he began and he said, "I came to this country 50 years ago as a young immigrant from Europe, and my name was not even pronounceable. So the first thing I did was to change my name to Smith. I had no money in my pocket. I was hungry and I was tired." He said he started to look for a job and he couldn't find a job. And then suddenly he found a coin on the road and he picked up that coin and he bought some apples. But after he bought the apples, he looked at the apples in his hand and he said, "Well, these are apples. I could eat them and my hunger would go away." And then he thought again that, but these apples, at the same time, I could start a business. So he sold the apples for 50 cents and he bought more apples with the money. And that is how he started accumulating dollars. After a while, he managed to buy a set of used shoe brushes and shoe polishes, and he started cleaning shoes. And then he made sure that he started cleaning shoes and he was making money. He didn't have time to go and watch movies or to go dancing or anything. He couldn't even spend money on clothes. But all he did was to buy bread and cheese so that he would have just enough food to survive. He said he saved every penny by penny, and then after a while, he was able to buy a new set of brushes and shoe polishes in different shades and colors. And with that, he was able to increase the number of people that he shined shoes for. And he continued to live, very frugally like a monk, and he continued to save penny after penny. He said after a while, he was able to buy a chair for his customers so that they could sit down comfortably while he cleaned their shoes. And that made him to have more customers. And then a few years ago, he said there was another corner shoe shine person that was old and decided to retire, that he was able to buy that person's space, which was a better and more attractive space than what he had. And that is how he was able to grow his business. I'll stop the story there because the story actually had a very funny and unexpected ending. But the moral of the story, up to where I have taken it, is where I want us to look at. It's a story of savings and investment. I think to a large extent, a lot of us, when we even talk about savings, a lot of people say, "I don't even have enough to meet my needs. How can I be talking about savings? I have nothing to save." And we can learn quite a lot of lessons from Mr. Smith, the shoe shine man that came all the way from Europe. Next slide, please. So the first moral of the story: don't eat your seeds as harvest. Mr. Smith was hungry. He found a coin after buying the apples. He could have eaten those apples, but he decided that, no, let me sell them and then I'll get more money. He didn't eat his seed as harvest. And I think I can relate with that. There was a time in my life, my first job was with one of the big banks in Nigeria. And we had worked so hard that year. And there was this expectation that we were going to get a bonus at the end of the year. I was one of the younger people that had joined the bank. A lot of people were much older, so they were experienced and they always had this expectation of an excitement, around the bonus. Now, when that bonus came that year, it was quite disappointing, even I, as small as I was, looked at that bonus and I said, this bonus is not worth all the work, that I've done so far. And, I didn't know about the law of seed time and harvest, of paying tithes or anything. But I know that, the thought that came to me was that, but guess what? Even as much as I don't value this money, that there is a mission field that I'm aware of. And I know that this money would go a long way for the mission field. So I gave, everything to the mission field. And I can testify that over time, I look back, God reminds me, and tells me that, my seed, it has gone a long way in the harvest, that I continue to see now. Of course, after that, there have been many more seeds, but that was just, the starting point of a great thing that God began to do. So don't eat your seeds as harvests. May God give us the grace to recognize our seed. Just like Mr. Smith did, that at that point he knew that this apple is not for eating, it's a seed. And all. Other morals of the story, I like to talk about the law of compounding. I'm trying to set I know we've asked for platforms for savings and investment. I could just go and tell you, join this platform, join that platform. But I think it's important for us to even understand the principles, because that is what you will need when you do join whichever platform you choose to join. The other thing about this story is the law of compounding. That is Mr. Smith. The law of compounding, I think we've all heard of compound interest and simple interest. Simple interest is just the interest of a particular amount, and that's it. But compound interest is when you add back, let's say you put down 100 naira, and then 10% increase on that is 10 naira, and then you take 100 plus that 10 naira, 110, and you invest it again to give you another 10%. So it keeps growing like that. Then you will now get 11, and you add it back to the 110, 121. You get another 10% on top of that. That's 12. So it keeps growing and growing. That's the law of investment. And you could see Mr. Smith doing that, in that when he got his apples, he bought more apples. Then the next thing, he took his savings, the investment that he got, the money he got from the apples, he used it to buy old shoe brushes to start his shoe brush business. As the shoe shine business was growing as well, at some point he bought different color of brushes. So he invested back. That's the law of compounding. And then I also want to speak about diversifying your portfolio. That is because, in life, like we said, seed time and harvest, there is this time of summer and winter. Some particular investments might be in summertime, while some are in winter. There are risks, there are ups and downs. Certain things will not move at a particular time, and one must try to understand that those risks exist, so we diversify our portfolio. I think a common adage for that is, do not put all your eggs into one basket, because if that basket drops or somebody steals that basket, all the eggs would be gone at the same time, right? Okay, so we diversify our portfolio to hedge against a risk. That's not to invest in just one thing as well. And then I also want to speak about, and we could see Mr. Smith, yes, to relate it back to Mr. Smith, you could see him doing that. His $1 million dollars, he didn't just want to leave it in the bank alone. He was looking at the stock market as well, that he can't keep everything in the bank. How about exploring the stock market as well? And then I think finally is mindset. And I think this really is the key or the most important part of it. I started by saying that at times, we look at the money in our hands and we say, this is too small. I can't save anything. It's not even enough to meet my needs. If we have that sort of a mindset, it will be difficult even to talk about savings and then investment. Also, other mindsets that can work, against us being able to be able to save and invest would be, do you think you are what you buy, or what you wear, or what you drive, or where you live? So if you have that kind of a mindset that all you consist of is the type of clothes you wear, what you can buy with money, that is the most important thing about you, that's a very poor mindset, because it is built not in any fundamental or let me say strong values, but rather in those tangible things that can easily disappear or be eroded. And there are also things that what you buy, what you wear, fashion is very transient. So if you want to buy, okay, Now fashion is very transient. So if you want to buy the latest, today and all of that your latest, by tomorrow somebody has released another one, and then it could be a waste of money. The other point in terms of mindset is that, do you only live for today? Are you only thinking of today? I think at times Yoruba people have a funny adage. They said, that's whatever the bird eats, that's how it used to fly. So some people say, this is my money I have now, I've bought apple. If I don't buy this apple, I will just die. I need it so that I can continue to move around. And also, you find that is also not a very good mindset in terms of focusing only on today. I think Brother Kenny did talk about, even in terms of career, that you have to have a vision. You have to plan. You have to think, where do I want to go? How do I want my money to grow? What am I planning, to do with this money? Don't let's just think of today that, thank God I finished today's work. They paid me 1,000 naira. Oh yeah, let me go to Mr. Biggs and eat 500 naira food and be happy, and then I sleep. Tomorrow is another day. We have to think long term. Okay, next slide please. Yes, so looking at the pitfalls of investment, you have to be aware, you have to be aware of what's happening out there, and be careful that when you are investing, that you've saved your money, now you want to invest it. Don't invest in a business or a purpose you don't understand or you are not familiar with. I like what Brother Kende said. He said, know something about everything. I hope I'm not misquoting. Know something about everything, and everything about something. So even if you want to go into investment, I think part of the things you have to do is to invest in yourself, to know everything about investment, But even at that, you should know everything, something about everything. So don't just jump into any business because that you do not understand. Also beware of the attractive advice of tricksters or schemers, the smooth talkers. They will come, they wear those of us that have the mindset that is what we wear that is most important. Those people, they know how to catch such people, because those are the mindset of people that will fall into their trap. So they will wear the most flashy outfits, they talk smoothly, beautiful, flow of language and grammar, they talk big, they drive, attractive and flashy cars, and so that you can smell, the success on them and be attracted. So when they tell you that, join this scheme, you would truly believe that this is your ticket out of penury. Also be careful of inexperience or romantic desires in investment. That's, like I said, if you do not know about it, you are not aware of this type of investment, and you are inexperienced in investment, don't just jump into it. Or don't go into an investment because your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or your wife or your husband says this is the investment, and you don't bother looking at the investment itself. You just look at the stars in that person's eyes and you go ahead and invest. And then also be careful of foolish sentiments of obligations to trust your treasure to any. Always be careful, especially in terms of sentiment. I know in times past, there was a time where the banks were all having a drive towards raising capital, and of course we all had friends and family in banks, and our friends and family go, it's my target, you must buy my shares, and all of that. Let's be careful of those kind of foolish sentiments. Look beyond the person and look that indeed their bank or their company has those fundamentals. Don't put all your money in there. And then of course the herd mentality, that is, everybody is doing it. So everybody's doing it. See, Brother Kenny has done it, Brother Kingsley has done it, everybody has done it, and join the bandwagon. That's a problem as well. Finally, Proverbs 13:11 reminds us that wealth from get rich quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. And finally, I will just point us, to the last slide, which shows a picture of a tree. this picture of a tree, I mean, we all know what a tree is. I think particularly when you talk about savings and investment, you see that at the beginning too, I started, with the tree, of investment, because it's really about growing your wealth at the end of the day. And you look at this tree, you see that it has two parts. There's a part of it that is all green and everything about it is beautiful and flourishing, while the other part of it is all dry and has been hit by drought. And I just want to remind us that it reminds us of Psalm 1, and particularly verse 3, which says that a blessed man is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaves does not wither. In all that he does, he prospers. Remember, we are talking about platforms for savings and investment that are successful. The first two verses of Psalm 1 do tell us that blessed is the man that does not sit in the seat of the scornful. Yeah, he doesn't stand in the way of sinners. And also, it's for us to be cautious and apply that principle when we are thinking about which platforms we want to join. I've already spoken about the pitfalls and the tricksters and all of that. You find that indeed those are the scornful, those are the sinners, if we think deeply about what they are offering. So the question for us really as well is that where are we planted? Thus, we need to ask ourselves that question first of all, personally. Where are we planted? Because where we've planted ourselves is where that would determine the kind of mindset and what we would do concerning investment. And I think also it's important to look at ourselves, invest in ourselves, as Brother Kenny has said, in terms of career, also in terms of savings and investment. Investment is not only money, but you also invest in yourself. Some of your savings is not all of it that you put in a bank or into a scheme that will bring out money. You are going to invest some of that savings into yourself, perhaps in pursuing another degree, another certification, or some training, even for people that do handwork. I know there is all kind of knowledge on the internet that some of them is just 5,000 that they would use to teach you some skill or the other. And when you get that skill, you can do so much more with it. And then of course to also look at your network, as pointed out in Psalm 1, the first verse as well, that who are the people we surround ourselves with, that this will go a long way into how we do in terms of savings and investment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. We sincerely appreciate you. Can we put our hands together once again for her? Straight away, we'll be going for the first review of what our brother has told us about remaining relevant in your career, remaining relevant. So Brosukomi will be taking us through that, some of the points, so that we can get it straight up. Just to reiterate some of the few points he has talked about. And your questions are welcomed. Please continue to prepare them. We'll soon take them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. And I believe you are getting something meaningful and tangible while you're there joining us. We have audience in the house also. If you're in the house, please clap for Jesus so that they can hear you all over. Hallelujah. Okay, so just look at some of the things our first speaker spoke about when he says staying relevant in our changing world. He said there's no dinosaur. That's one key one. That means you can't be everything, but you have to really focus. He spoke about mid-level workers. He spoke about professional development. He says most times people just, when they get to the mid-level, they forget themselves and they don't actually look forward to developing themselves professionally. He spoke about visibility in your place of work, and he really mentioned that we are in a crisis period in this nation, and being in a crisis, there are very, very cogent steps you need to take for you to be able to stay relevant. You have to focus on the big picture. You have to take the business as if it were yours. You have to network with peers, form strategic alliances, not just anyhow friends. Build professional social media presence, mentioning LinkedIn. Look at the job opportunities that are available in your line, and then you have to have the end goal in mind. He didn't fail to mention divine direction also. And then he says, one key thing, communication skills in our world of today. Your emotional intelligence. Always take up additional responsibilities. Know everything about everything, and know everything about something, and something about everything. Okay, know something about everything, and at least be an SMA in a particular thing. Subject matter specialist. Okay? And beware of office politics. Try to understand the culture of where you are, and then you will be able to thrive. I just pick some points so that we can go into the interactive discussions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also want to introduce my co-host. You want to take questions? Okay. Do you have questions online already? Okay. Online audience, we are waiting for your questions while we also take some questions. I want to speak to our general manager here, Bro Kenny. You talked about office politics. In some offices, there are so much politics that you see yourself as if you want to belong, you will fall off from your feet. It is so strong. It is so, because people get so diplomatic. They employ diplomacy in handling all of these politics. What is your advice for Christians who want to also play the office politics?
So, like I said, office politics is inevitable, right? There is no way, there is no organization, and there's no politics. It's now left to you to know how to play that politics. I said a few things. Well, I said one. I should have mentioned something else as well. When you're in your office, be very careful what you say amongst your peers. Trust me, everything said gets to the top through someone that is trying to curry a favor from one boss. Maybe you might have just said, now guys, look at the suit. The way the person would tell the boss will say, Bro Victor said your suit is torn, that you're always smelling. That's because, I'm serious, that's because he's trying to get a favor. So office politics it's boundless, right? There is no way, even if you are a pastor, I'm sure if you ask Pastor Joseph, he will tell you before he left service or whatever, or ask Pastor Sarako, guaranteed there's office politics. So it's now left, I said something as well, that integrity matters, right? When people know you for who you are, there are certain things they won't bring to you. Let me cite an example. I think that was in 2017. I was in the US, right? So I had a big project. I was the project manager on that project. So there was a subcontractor that wanted to do something for us. He came to me. I just told him to talk to some of my guys. Maybe when they finalize the guy's proposal, they can let me know. So they had some arrangements with the guy, right? So the guy now came to tell me that we've I want to come and see you in your apartment. I said, yeah, sure, please come around. He came, we were just talking. He told me how much he wanted to quote. The following day, I just saw him. He just came to me and said, Mr. Kenny, just continue being yourself. I said, I don't understand. He said, when he was talking to some of my colleagues, they asked him how much is he going to quote. He said he already told me X $1,000. I said, you shouldn't have told Kenny now. Kenny would have told the MD already. And for me, that's where I am. I mean, like I said, I want to be able to sleep at night. So that politics is always there. I knew people will be discussing stuff. Once I'm coming, he just said, this guy, he just changed topic. I don't care. It's okay. Right? So you must be ready to understand that there are certain politics that you shouldn't play. There are some dirty politics that you shouldn't participate in. But there are some that you absolutely have to. Right? You must know how to please your boss. It's politics as well. It's people management. You must understand how to work with your team. It's politics as well. So one of my friends, he says something, he'll say he's a facilitator, right? And it's also a manipulator. Yes. So you must understand, unfortunately, that's the way it is. You must understand how to manage people and how to let people do what you want them to do. So don't say because I'm a pastor, I'm a born-again Christian, I won't participate in politics, you are deceiving yourself. The politics will drag you in. So if you don't go in with a purpose, then you'll be lost. You might end up losing your job. God will be looking at you. I gave you wisdom, you're not using it. So you must understand how to play that politics. Because it's called politics doesn't mean you'll be scheming and trying to put people in trouble. No. Workplace alone is politics, so we should understand. Thank you. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Before we take further questions online, I also want to engage our other general manager, this time on financial matters. Ma, it's so astonishing how a shoe shiner could gather as much as $100 million. $1 million. And possibly even the CEO does not have that money in his savings. It's so astonishing. Ma, this saving culture of a thing, we have just last week, somebody who I know who sells just a little stuff was building a house. And I was surprised that even some persons who we starch our clothes, we even get money to buy a car, we've not gotten a piece of land yet. How those people could manage their resources, how they can gather it and channel it to something so worthwhile. I want you to, how can you advise us on how to go about this? Because you know the trend in town now is to be among what is happening among. You should feel among what your colleagues are doing. You know, some people are buying cars, so you just have to get yours. What are those things we should target before going for all of these things?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you said, that somebody that is doing some sort of a menial job places more priority in building a house, while those of us that we have white-collar jobs are still thinking of how to buy cars and go on holidays and vacations. And I think, again, one of the things that comes to mind, I remember, my mom said her father used to say this, and she used to repeat it, that her father used to say, Tete kole koto ramoto. And if you look at in terms of investments, that's what should we invest in? I'm sorry, I need to interpret that. Quickly build a house before you buy a car. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. In investment, or let me say in terms of financial literacy, we look at our expenses and investments. Yes? So for instance, a vehicle is actually a wasting asset. Why? Because once you bring it out of Elizade, brand new, and the rubber hits the road, it has started depreciation. The value, you can't take it back into Elizade and say it's still that same amount. You've driven it out, you've driven it on the road. So it's a wasting asset. Whereas real estate, those are one of the choices of areas to invest in. Why? Because they appreciate in value. So you buy a land today, in a couple of years' time, it can never be the same amount. The value has gone up. The same thing if it's a building or an apartment that you buy into. Rent is going up, is it not? Is there anybody here that their landlords reduces? So I think that's just clear. I don't need to say, more than that. So those people recognize that, even at their status in life, that it is important for them to invest in lasting or to spend their money in what will last or appreciate in value. That's why they focus on that. I believe they also have vision. So they have a vision, unlike some of us, we are young, we come into the workplace, thank God I have a job now. Now I'm going to buy a new suit. Now I'm going to do this. Next thing I'm going to get a car, and we don't think long term. Rather than when you do get into the job, you should actually have a 5-year plan. That I've started this job today, where do I want to be in the next 5 years, and how am I going to work towards it? That's what will help you to line up, and have a plan, to lay your plan out. That, okay, so for me to get to that in the next 5 years, do I still want to be in this company? If I'm still going to be in this company, what do I want to be doing there? Am I still going to be doing the same job, or I want to become a manager, or I want to have learned other things? We have to have a vision and a goal and pursue it, and that's the same way, even in terms of money as well. So that as we earn, the money, we are thinking that, what do I want to, achieve with this money? So that when the bonuses come as well, because we have a plan. But if there is no plan, immediately bonus comes. Your friends say, we are going to Dubai. Oh, let me join you. That will be a lot of fun. And then the money goes. I hope I've touched.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if I would just add, I think one major problem with young people these days as well is we don't understand delayed gratification, right? People just want to live in the now. You'll see someone that's just fresh out of school, because he just was fortunate to just do some little investment and made some good money. The first thing he's thinking about is the Range Rover. You don't understand that to maintain that Range Rover alone is work. By the time you blow one of your shocks absorbers and you're asked to come and pay 800,000 naira. I have a friend that bought a Range Rover some years back. The car had an accident, a minor accident. By the time they told him how much he would spend, if you know what it means, yeah? He abandoned it because it didn't make any sense, right? So, and he struggled to buy the car. I mean, he was very happy. Initially, the car started with AC problem. The guy will still wind up. You are sweating inside the Range Rover. You can't roll down the Range Rover, So, but that money could have been channeled to something else. There was a land, 2011, 12, we bought a property somewhere, Happy Land Estate. Then it was selling maybe 2 million naira or something per plot. I bought 2 then. Now, last week, someone called me. They wanted to pay 18 million for each. That's less than how much. I'm not even, it's not as if I even want to sell. They just said, I said, no, I'm not selling. But I could have spent that 2 million. I would have traveled to the US and enjoy myself. But they'll just stamp your passport in and out, finish. So we should understand delayed gratification is very important. A lot of young people don't understand it, because my mates are buying Gucci. I must buy Gucci. This one is buying Rolex. Come on, we should understand. Very important.
Very key. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. We young people, it is well with us in Jesus' name. Okay, so I was going to ask in respect to that, please, it's time for questions. If you're part of us online and you want to send in your questions, kindly send a chat and we would ask the question and we would receive answers. Praise the Lord. So I was going to ask Mr. Kenny, when you talk about getting a land, I'd like us to bring it down to our level. You just mentioned about getting a land many years ago, or a few years back, for 2 million. And I know that 2 million is worth more than it is now, years back. How do we relate this to our youths who have not seen 100,000? How do we make, who have not seen 100,000 at once? Okay, so how do we begin to make such investments so that it pays off later in the years?
Okay, so I'll say something again in Yoruba. I'll try to translate in English. It says, right? I'm sure Yoruba people understand. So it means.
Do you want me to interpret for you?
Please help him.
I mean, it means that the hand of the squirrel, how big it is, that's what he will use to rub his face.
Right.
So you stay within your means.
Exactly. No do pass yourself. Investment comes in levels. I usually laugh at my wife. Sometimes there was a time she bought one land. I can't remember where, all these Adron homes, The day she took me there, I said, Madam, come on, this is punishment now. You know? Yeah, but I'm serious. But within few years, people are offering her decent money for it. So if you're unable to buy land in Lekki, even if it's somewhere, even if it's Ikorodu, because the truth is, land as an asset, you never lose money on it. It's impossible. Like my sister said, cars, unless you're using it for business, you are losing money. The moment you drive it, the value has dropped. So don't think, until I have 10 billion or until I have 1 million. Start from somewhere. Even investments could be you investing in yourself. If you don't have money yet to buy land, and you have money to buy some books that will help you understand financial, how to manage your finances, you are investing already. It might be late, it might be, you might not be able to quantify it. So first and foremost, don't see investment only as tying something down. It's very important, but knowledge as well is investment, right? There was I have a colleague, he's living in Germany now. When other junior, it's a lot junior to me. When other colleagues were any little bonus, travel to the US, travel to Kinecon, this guy was just buying books, studying, doing stuff. Now he works with Benz in Germany. He's doing very well. So he invested in knowledge. We said invested in wisdom. Of course, physical assets very important. But if you're not there yet, you're not there yet. You will get there. So it's what you train yourself with now. That's what will determine how you manage the wealth when it comes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That answer would hang our coats where our hands can reach. Praise the Lord. I'll go straight forward to the next question to you, Mrs. Wandu. The question goes this way. Hello, Ma. With respect to Forex brouhaha with the Naira, please, is it a smart idea, I believe, to convert dollar saving to Naira? Because there are rumors that domiciliary accounts are to be frozen as a strategy to increase the value of Naira. I don't know how true. Then.
Okay, so I've not heard of those rumors, and I think one warning, is that you should be careful of rumors. It's not everything you see on WhatsApp that you should believe. To convert, if you do have dollars, to convert them to Naira because you want to save it from whether the government freezing your money is not, I don't think it's a wise idea, because the fact is that the dollar is still going up. So if you do need to spend out of that money, take what you need to spend out of it, convert it and spend. But for example, let's say you have $100 and today $100 is 500 Naira. That's 50,000. If you convert your $100 to 50,000 today, let's say by the end of the month the dollar is now 550. That your 50,000 Naira would now be 55,000 Naira at the end of the month. So that means converting it today to keep it, I think, under your bed or wherever you wanted to keep it, you would be losing value. You would have lost 5,000 Naira.
Okay, Ma. Sorry, please, let me just ask this question. It's going to both of you because I want us to be very practical. We are speaking to youth and all that. Please, can you help advise someone that is earning 50,000 how we can start up a savings and, get somewhere in life? 50,000 Naira.
The expenses.
In Nigeria, yes. 50,000 Naira, practically. It's a tough one.
Yes, it's a very tough one. So people used to say, cut your coat according to your size, right? Now it's cut your coat according to your cloth. If you need to wear jumper, right? Yes. So it's very difficult. Man, how to survive 50,000 Naira in Lagos particularly. First thing, don't eat out. Yeah. as much as you can, if possible, if you can share an apartment. Maybe you have a friend that's also earning 50K. By the time, at the end of the year, both of you are in like 600,000 naira, right? So if you are, instead of you renting an apartment of 200,000, if both of you split costs, that's 100,000 naira each. So pooling resources, as much as possible. If you are lucky that your workplace is on the island, right? Make sure you are staying close to your workplace. And if unfortunately you are maybe living in the Korodu and your workplace is on the island, you don't have a choice. Maybe during the week, you probably have to find somewhere to crash. My wife, in her place of work, she has people they sleep in the office. Most of these things are usually for a phase, right? It's just for a sacrifice for a moment. So these are practical things. You can't be commuting back and forth from Ikorodu to VI every day. Your salary is gone. So you need to find a way, pool resources. Don't eat out. Eating out, by the time you check at the end, make sure you make homemade food. What you will buy with 5,000 naira raw food against the food you will buy for 5,000 naira, you'll be shocked. So homemade food, pool resources, as much as you can. Determine to save a certain amount. Set it out first and foremost. Maybe if out of that 50K, if it's 5K you want to be saving, before you even spend, assume you are earning 45,000. Take it out. People will say problem no they finish, right? So take out that 5K first. Then the remaining 45 or whatever you have, try to live within it. It's very difficult, but it's doable. And if you are not yet married, please stay, don't get married yet. No, I'm serious, very important. I tell people, yes, people say things, they'll say money is not everything, money can't buy everything, poverty cannot buy anything. It's the truth. So if you are not yet married and you are not yet financially capable, don't do it. It's a lot of problem. As a man particularly, it's heartbreaking when you can't fend for your family, right? Even if you have money, there are times maybe your family needs 100,000 and all you have in your pocket is just 20K. You almost go crazy. Now for it now to be something that happens every day. So please, if you are not yet married, if you are not ready, please just wait. Sort out your life first before you bring in someone into your life. Very important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
In addition to what Brother Kenny has said about the savings, he did say 5%. I think that's with the principle of you should be able to save. I mean, there's a savings principle that we should be able to save at least 10% of whatever you earn. And again, it's still a mindset thing. And I want to use the example of that, is it the dry cleaner, or did you say that is building the house? You know that those people probably earn, if they look at their own actual earnings, it's probably less than 50,000 naira. But what do? They get tips as well. They say, doctor, welcome. How today? Doctor, do something now. And doctor is a big man, so he puts his hand in his pocket and gives him, 500 naira. And the man takes it in and keeps it. He knows that at least the bricks that he's buying to build his house, maybe by the end of the week, he's able to buy 10 bricks that he will go and put into that building project or whatever it is that he's doing. So it's a mindset. I mean, what I'm just trying to say is that it's a mindset thing as well. If you look at 50,000 naira and say it's nothing, you can't save out of this, you will never be able to save out of it. I mean, let's remember, Bro Ken even said you have 45,000 left. Actually, if you've paid your tithe of 10%, you have had 45 to start with, not 50. So it's after that 45 that you are now, maybe you put aside another 5. So you have 40. To live on. And then the other thing as well is to explore multiple streams of income. I know people that even in the office, even some people, they have money, but some of them they know where they sell chin-chin. They will buy this chin-chin. Maybe they buy it in buckets. They pack it into paper nylon bags, and they come to the office with it and keep it in the drawer. And you know how we are. We like to have something going on in your mouth. And no, before you give me one chin-chin there, and they go. And there's a gain that comes on top of that. So it's also to look at those little opportunities around you to explore multiple streams of income. I think especially for the youth, I think at times I look around the church, and I'm like, I don't see anybody that actually says I'm selling this or I'm selling that among the youth. I don't know what's happening. You find that it's actually the older folk. Maybe like Brother Kenny said, when you have responsibility, your brain will wake up how to make ends meet. But it shouldn't be like that. Even when you are young, you should be enterprising. Look at those opportunities. I mean, what can I do? What can I put together that will earn additional money for me?
Thank you so much, Ma.
Just to add up to you, that's a new question, right?
Yes.
Just to add up to that, there's been some comments coming in. I am seeing one from our brother, Mr. Ito. He's saying it's difficult to save when your income is too small, but I would recommend that a lot of brainstorming be done. The person must build a culture of savings, no matter how small. The person should also explore other opportunities to provide services. Someone else is saying you could do other things, just like Mrs. Wandu mentioned, that you can explore other streams of income. This person is saying, if it means to fry puff-puff and take to the office, please do. If you can make hair, please offer your services. If you can cook soup, if you have bachelors at your office, praise God, and you're a good cooker, cook and send to them. The list goes on. Make sure you're doing something that would bring an extra naira to your pocket. I think with that,
yeah, that is good. You also talked about diversifying your portfolios. That is having extra sources of income. We've looked at, especially in Nigeria here, there are so many investment platforms that we have all around. We looked at the agric sector, e-agric, where you just have to drop some amount of money. People will work for you and you have a return on investment. There are so many of them around. There is Piggyvest and all of that. But we find out that all of these things, they are just MMM in disguise. We have tried, we are not doing MMM. We are doing Piggyvest, we are doing HOCON, or what have you, agric sector. All of these things are just not working. It seems there is nowhere to invest. You want to even invest your money in transportation. Maybe you get some bikes, as somebody who is still struggling with life, gather some money, get some bikes for people to walk. People still frustrate you. Or you even open a small shop to do barbing salon. People still eat everything and you are back to square one. How do we go? What is the way forward out of all of this?
That's a very valid and relevant question. Yes, I think you just mentioned the word. It comes back to integrity. I think also when we're talking about somebody earning 50,000 naira, even that person, it still comes back to integrity. Because some of the solutions is that, maybe share an apartment with somebody, or maybe there's somebody that can give you a space, or even staying in the office and all. Those things, it still boils down to being a person of credibility, that you will not destroy things. But back to the investment question. Yes, I know that, in recent times, a lot of digital platforms have sprung up, offering returns and all of that. But I would say that's why I said in my talk, I wanted us to look at the principles of investment, rather than us saying this platform or that platform, that's where you should go and put your money. If we can get the principles, then it will help us in making our decisions. One is that, because a lot of these digital platforms are not regulated, that's why, at times we find them to be quite risky. The stock market still exists, and that is regulated. And on the stock market, you can buy, few shares. They are what you call penny stock, that over time they will grow. The principles of investment still comes back, just to, like we spoke about, seed time and harvest. There is no one that plants a seed today and you expect that by next week or by the end of the month you begin to reap the harvest. There has to be patience. Yeah. Also, at times when you plant a seed, maybe a rat will come and will eat that seed. It won't come up. So that could happen as well. So the terrain, there is always risk. That's why God said seed time and harvest, summer and winter, day and night. There will be the ups and downs, but we have to stay the course. And then we do that by investing in knowledge about investment. That's why I spoke about the pitfalls. Don't do herd mentality. Everybody has done agrivest. Me too, I'm going to do agrivest. They've done agri-tech. They've done piggy tech or whatever it's called. I know. You need to gain, knowledge yourself. And the fundamentals are still the same as they've always been. You look at that company. Who are the people behind this company? If they are not visible and they are not clear, it's not clear that there is any credibility. I mean, you can say that if these people I give my money to, I don't know where their office is. Should you put your money, there? At least First Bank, if it's First Bank on the stock market, you know where First Bank head office is.
You can go and carry placard.
And it's regulated, and all of that. So you know that your money. So I'm not saying we should not invest in the digital platforms. What I'm trying to put down is that we need to invest based on knowledge. The fundamentals are still the same. You want to invest in any business. Even if somebody comes today, a one man, and says, I'm starting a shoe shine business, invest in it. What are the questions you would ask that person? What are the things that you will look at before you feel comfortable to say that, yes, I'm putting my money in this shoe shine business? First of all, where is he going to put his shoe shine box? Is he putting it in a place where people pass and a lot of people will be passing and there's opportunity? Or is he going to put it in front of a local government office where the council people will chase him, away? Then who is this guy? What's his track record? What is his knowledge about the shoe shine business? Where did he train? How many shoes has he shined your shoe before? Have you seen the work that he does that makes you to have confidence than that? But I think the problem is that, we hear those big returns and we are blinded by that. We refuse to see it. If there is a farm, where is this farm? I know some even take people on farm tours, but I can take anybody to any farm and say, this is my father's farm. Especially if I know the time the owner of the farm comes and it's
That's the integrity.
And this is my father's farm, and everything. Can't you see our fishes are growing and all of that? Anybody can do that. I mean, we have to do our due diligence, our research, and it comes back to us investing in ourselves to have that knowledge. In terms of platforms, now I'm not mentioning these platforms so that people will go and invest in them, but in terms of teaching the knowledge, I know that Money Africa on Instagram, they usually, even on Instagram, there are tips that you can pick up there free, and then if you even join as a member, they give investment tips, as a member. They have seminars online, and all of that, where they, chat people up. Even some of the big investment companies like the First Bank one and all, from time to time, they have those seminars where they invite people, and it's all online now. We are now in the digital world that, we are talking about this kind of investment, planning for savings, planning for retirement, wealth creation, and all of that. So they will tip and pass across those knowledge that will help us to take such decisions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll read two comments. Now I'll ask an adjoining question to what we just said. For this question, I think we covered it a bit by asking the practical question of 50,000 naira, because practically the money is devalued. So I think we are good with this question.
Sorry, that question, the person is asking something that I'm not very sure the person is trying to say. The last line, what will you advise an employee since he or she will still have to put in the same quality of work irrespective of the economic situation? Is the person saying because Naira has been devalued, he also wants to devalue his productivity at work? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand. So that I said something about focusing on the big picture, right? If you're looking at the big picture, you are seeing the business as yours. You don't understand that the person that owns the business is losing money as well. You're not the only one losing money. So you need to put put yourself. I think Nigerians generally, we are selfish. I'm sorry to say, we think about me alone. The person that is struggling to pay your salary, he's also losing money. So we should look at the big picture. Don't think, first naira that was 100,000 naira to $1 last week. Now it's I can't kill myself. All these things, like I said something again, everything you say bubbles to the top eventually. So people that are making side comments and how much are they even paying us? And I wouldn't kill myself. Someone will tell the boss. So if it's when the chips are down and some people are about to be laid off, you don't be surprised when your name is on the list because of unguarded statements you've made. So please, that kind of mentality is very wrong. Saying because naira has been devalued, you now to devalue your productivity as well. You are ready to go home. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that insight. Okay.
Add to that, I mean, for emphasis, because this is the second time Bro Kenny is mentioning that issue of grumbling and complaining, in the office. I actually got this insight a long time ago. At the early part of my career, I was in a training. I remember that man like it was yesterday. I can still see his face. I think he's a Liberian or something. But he made, that comment. It was a jara. There are times they are training you on something else and then the trainer gives you some other tips. So it was a jara. And he said, don't, do that grumbling and all of that. And he even is actually in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs. I can't remember where now. He says that do not talk about the king, whether in your chamber or wherever, because a little bird will carry it and go and put it in its ears. So it's actually very important. And for the fact he has mentioned it twice, I think I needed to say that because I got that early in my career and I learned it, and held on to it, and it has really helped me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma. So on a lighter note, we have people that youths that sell products. In case you don't know, I won't do the adverts. They will come after you people more aggressively now. Okay. So, on a serious note, this is a question saying not everyone can do business. Is this true? Let's say first, yes or no. Is it true?
Absolutely.
So, what do you suggest for someone like that and he still earns 50,000 naira? He can't do business and he earns 50,000 naira.
When I was talking, I said something about know your strength, right? I've talked about that before. I have a friend, one of my former colleagues. His wife, he tried setting her up at least on 3 occasions that I know, with a lot of money, right? She's this kind of person. Right? She reigned on 2 occasions. I know. I think the first time, maybe this was years back, gave her maybe 8 million. They couldn't at 0, right? The second time, maybe about 10 million too. So we know your strength. We all can be businessmen. Don't let motivational speakers deceive you, right? It's very good to have maybe some sort of knowledge to be able to do business, but know your strength. But everybody can sell. Don't say because it said I shouldn't do business. You can, even if it's, that's why she said, maybe even if it's chin-chin. You should be able to sell chin-chin and collect your money for the chin-chin now, Abi. So, but everybody can't be, there's a difference between being an entrepreneur, setting up a business, and trading. I think everybody can trade. You might not be able to set up a business. Setting up a business requires a lot of knowledge and wisdom. But to trade, come on. I bought it 5 naira. For you to be able to buy that thing back, you must still sell for 7 naira so that you keep 2 naira and then buy again for 5 naira. So everybody can trade, but maybe everybody might not be businessmen. Did that make sense?
Well, everybody can.
She wants to add to that.
Yes, just to add, just to add to that. Everybody has something that is unique inside of them that they can do, that God has put there, that you can. I mean, so I say it. I mean, it's like the peak advert. It says it's in you. I think in life, for all of us, what you use, what you need at a particular point in time, by the grace of God, is usually just really always there. It just takes you taking that time and insight to find it out. There are things that you can do, and there are different things for different people. Some people, even this investment we are talking about, someone say, I have only 50,000 naira and all. Some people spend maybe their weekends going to help other people. And it's not because of it might not even be because of money. You know, that's why I'm saying that everybody has something inside of them. It might not be because of money that if I go and help Brother Kenny, he will give me, money. But for instance, we're in the church. Some people look at men of God and they say, oh, how can I be of service to this man of God? I can't buy him a car. I can't buy him a house. I can't even afford to buy him a shirt. What is it that I can do for him? And out of that sincerity, it's an investment. You are investing your time. So when we talk about investment and all of that, don't let's look at it only that until my 50,000 naira becomes $1 million, then I can begin to save and invest. That time is the time that you invest either in yourself or even in serving others. That is that seed that over time it will grow and will open, other doors. So imagine, somebody comes and says, oh, let me come and clean your house. Don't even give me anything. Let me just clean it. And the person comes and does it so well. And then somewhere down the line, somebody else in the neighborhood, he said, my house is so dirty, I have nobody to clean my house, blah, blah, blah. And I say, this person I know can do it for you. You don't know how to do business. You didn't know how to put a fee on top of that, skill of cleaning. But because you sold that investment, that time, that effort, freely, somebody else has seen it and will package it for you and will tell that person, maybe let him come and clean your house every weekend. You at the end of the month you give him 20,000 naira. That's an increment. So please don't let's lose sight of that all of us, there is something that we have. For some people it's even connecting people. Some people are very good in connecting people, and you can make those associations that even at the end of the day it begins to bring out some increment, or even that will connect you yourself even to a better job that will take you out of that 50,000 naira level. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma. We've talked a lot. I got this tip from one of my senior boss. He said he was teaching us about angel investment. And he told us how he sold his house that he had on the highland here to invest in a fintech. And over the years, that has paid off. He told us I invested in Paystack. We know how Paystack was sold and he made a lot of money. He invested in Kuda. How Kuda also, he invested in Kudi also. So I think, is it that he's fortunate? Or is it a line? Because he told us, instead of tying your money on a piece of land somewhere, he said we should look for small startups where we can invest our money. And I asked him this question. I believe he will answer me soon via mail. I asked him, most times when these startups wants to when they want investors, usually it's not small money for investors who want to invest in them. So and these informations are not informations you find all around. How do we close this gap if it's what you want to advise people to do, just like he said?
Anything you are investing in, even if it's particularly for startups, make sure you know about the business and about the people. Trust me, particularly in Nigeria, a number of people that do startups, most of them just want to cash out, in quotes. I can bet you that. I might not mention figures, but I know a personal friend. He invested almost $1 billion in someone's business last year. Today, capital, interest, zero. Almost $1 billion. And it was fintech, they are the new gold, new unicorn. Because he is very liquid, he was looking for ways to just at least let me plug these things here. The money is gone within a year. The guy he gave the money to, the moment the guy collected the money, first thing, throughout last year December, he spent 2 months in Dubai. 2 months. But a Range Rover 2021 Range Rover. I'm serious, I'm not lying. So it's very, fintechs are good, they are gold mines, but you have to be careful, understand who are the people behind the business. They shouldn't tell you, it's Mr. Jide, he lives in America. Come, who are they? Who are the people behind? Otherwise, you will lose your money. So, and like you said, maybe some of these fintechs, they are looking for a lot of money. Not exactly. Some of them don't mind people pooling resources. Everything is about information. Some information could just fall on your laps. Some you have to dig for it. Like I said, fintech is a gold mine, but be careful. You need to understand and know the people behind it. Otherwise, sorry, yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm going to give opportunity to Daddy Shino Joseph, whose hands is lifted, to say his contribution. While he does that, I'd like to also throw a question that it's open. I can see many people here. I can see Daddy Nelson here. I can see quite a lot of good people here. I'd like to ask, are there skills one needs to acquire in order to fit into the changing world, irrespective of the kind of job you do or the kind of course you studied? Are there general skills one needs to, so that we begin to, acquire these skills? We'll get an answer after that. Shino Joseph gives his contribution. Daddy, over to you, sir. God bless you, sir, for that contribution. We appreciate you for that. Back to the question, Mr. Kenny. Are there skills that, irrespective of your job or the kind of certificate you have, you must acquire in order to find yourself relevant in the changing world?
For me, the number one skill set you require is computer skills, information technology. There's hardly anything we do these days that you don't need some computer knowledge about it. You want to be working in the bank, even doctors these days, doctors in developed countries, most diagnoses, people do surgeries by proxy now, remote surgeries. Lawyers, I mean, this with COVID now, people give injunctions, or lawyers or whatever, they do stuff online. So in this age, anything or anyone, particularly younger people, even older people too, but particularly younger people, anything you are doing, make sure you find a way to tie it around technology. That's the next stage you are going to. Everything goes around information technology. So find a way to carve a niche for yourself, learn it. Everybody can be a programmer, right? But in a way, find a way to tie it to infotech. Otherwise, the next 10, 15 years from now, just imagine now, there was something I was watching on, I saw a picture. Someone was doing all these National Geographic guys. It was in a chopper holding a camera. The helicopter was flying them. They were trying to view, to record something. And then on another picture, there was a drone, right? So that means the guy said the drone has fired the chopper pilot, the cameraman, and everybody around the crew, just because someone just flew a drone with a phone and then takes all the pictures. So technology is the next thing. So if you can't plug in, then guaranteed you're out.
Thank you so much, sir. Technology is the main thing. Any addition on that, ma'am?
Addition to that, is self-management. That's how do you manage yourself, and that's where we talk about having a vision and a plan for yourself, focus on objectives. Those are skills that is not about the job that you do, but that's where you need to survive. Also working with people. So again, I mean, that's another skill that for the future. And I'm actually reading this from the World Economic Forum. It talks about the top 10 skills that we'll need going into 2025. But the categories of the skills really: problem solving, self-management, working with people, and Brother Kenny has spoken about technology use and development. So in those 4 areas, we must develop ourselves.
Thank you so much, Ma. As sweet as it is, we would be rounding up. We'll just take one more question, and then Brother Komi, you take 1 or 2 comments. I am sure our youth pastor is still very much available to throw in a comment. Right about that, after that, we would draw the curtain for tonight. Brother Komi.
Okay, so one more question I'll say. Just let's wrap this up. So this is income versus spending. I'll take you as income, since it's staying relevant. Spending stays. Where should I put my effort? Expanding my income, or trying to stifle the life of what goes out so that I can retain more?
And what would be the thin line between being stingy and...
Okay, so practically, let me just bring it practically now. Before you get your salary every month as a salary earner, people are waiting. they know the dates you get your salary. And they are all there with faces that are so pitiful. In fact, someone had to tell me, so you are not Jesus Christ, you cannot solve the whole world's problem. But sometimes it's just hard to take your face away. What do you say to this? And I want to say this, really is something I discussed with Brother Victor, Pastor Victor. So many of our youths are stifled, or they are stifled with parental burdens. Parents that probably didn't sponsor or didn't even know about how they got to where they are, want them to begin to give back to them at that early stage. You talked about your seed, and don't eat your seed now, or whatever it is. So how do you react to these parents? You don't want them to suffer, you want to take care of them, but you still have your future ahead of you. I think you just take all that together. Both of you, sir.
One thing we should try to do is, like, as against spending and saving, right? Yes. It's a mixed bag. You can't, there's no hard and fast rule to it. You can, I think there was something I saw somewhere that you can only have what you keep, right? If money is not coming in and you are spending everything, then you are not wise. And also, if money is coming in and you are still spending everything, you are still not wise. So there must be a way to retain. So it should be a balance. While you are trying to earn more, you need to watch your pocket, how much is leaving your hand as well. So to me, in my opinion, what you should watch the most should be what's leaving, what your expenses. And the sad thing about it is, if you're not careful, your expenses would always meet your income. That's why you will see someone that was living comfortably on 100,000 naira. The moment they give the guy 200,000 naira, oh boy, that's when he will see. Someone that was buying a wristwatch of 10,000 will say, if I buy the one of 25,000, it will last longer. It's a lie. So you need to know how to retain what you have. Then I tell people something, as much as you can, try to live a little bit below your means. Just try. It's very difficult because you will look, I'm earning X amount. Why am I living in this kind of house? But you know, so we should be very careful. Learn to live just a little below your means. Very important. And also, there was something there was a question you asked again that was very important. Yes. So one thing you should do again is always have a budget. Have an amount for charity every month. The moment you hit that milestone, anyone that comes, my brother, come next month. Yes, see, initially I tell people, no is a complete sentence. There is not every time you need to explain yourself. Because when you are trying to explain, that's when the person will also be explaining. Madam, Emma Bino, Kosi. It is, I mean, you have your life to live. But I tell people, family, particularly your parents and children, those are responsibilities you have to take. But all the same, like you said, you are not Jesus Christ. If it's not your son's or your children's school fees that it's compulsory, or maybe it's not that maybe your parents are dying, you need to pay for, but mommy will come affair and Kara, someone wants to get married. The one you bought last week, you just that one. So have a budget and be it's very important. It's very difficult to live with it. For me, I was like this before. I won't lie, it was my wife that helped me. I can pluck out my eyes and give it out. I would say, people are using you. And it's the truth, because I know someone that took some money from me. This guy said, I think he wanted to go have a child abroad. I gave him money, blah, blah, blah. For this guy to return the money, this guy is a Muslim friend. He went to Hajj twice. He went to the US once, to Canada once. Till today, he hasn't given me the money. And he came with the intent that I thought, man, okay, this guy, his wife, okay, just so you have to be very careful. Have a budget, and have, of course, we are, because of our culture, people will always come, we need help. Have a budget for charity. For me, I just call it charity. Once that amount is exceeded, sorry, next month, I will put you down for next. But if I now look at, well, maybe this one is life and death, I might waver a bit. It will get to a point where you will know, once you say no, people will know, but no, but next time. People will know you for it. And they know you've helped them in the past. So they won't say, he's a miser. I don't have. If you think I have, well, I don't know what you are saying for you to think I have. Well, maybe I will say amen to that prayer. So very important, discipline and budget.
Yes, indeed, it's your expense or the spending. You have to be accountable to your spending. I think that's the key word. Be accountable to your spending. Whatever amount comes in, if you cannot, I know a lot of people that by the middle of the month, the money has finished and they are wondering, what happened to the money? They can't even tell you what happened. They can't tell themselves what happened to the money. That in itself is a problem. It shows that, one, they are not tracking their expenses. And I think this is very important to drop at this point. That's important for us, both old, young, adults, and all. We need to be able to have a list. This is what I've spent money on. So if 100 naira comes into your hand, you should be able to account for it, that this is what I spent this 100 naira for. What it will do for you is an eye-opener. If you've never done it before, start doing it for the next 1 month, or maybe for the next salary. Plan it that way, that what did I spend for a month, the salary I received, what did I spend it on? It's an eye-opener. When you see what you spent it on, then it will help you to make the plan, the budget that Brother Kenny is talking about. Because when you realize that, you mean I just gave off 5,000 naira as tips, or I just used it to watch movies, or you can spend it online, sha. I only use it to watch, Netflix. This is how much I'm spending, on Netflix or DSTV, in a month. And I thought, that, where did my money go? This is how much I spent on meat pie. This is how much I spent, on making my hair, or even going to the salon. Then when you get that eye opener, it will help you to think and say, okay, do I even really need to go and barb my hair? Can't I learn how to barb my head myself? I think a lot of our friends and relatives, ask them, the people that have gone to Canada and UK and relocated and everywhere, they can't afford the money to pay for barber. So everybody learns how to barb their head. Or they do afro. That's why you see a lot of people with afro. And you think it's style. But it has become style now. It's necessity is the mother of invention. And all of that. So track your expenses. It will open your eyes to what's really happening. Once you have that view, then you can make a plan. And as our brother has said, you need to have a budget. Spend below what you earn. Again, like I said, these things are principles. If you don't get those principles and you are working on increasing the income, as the income is increasing, you'll be spending it in the same unwise manner. You will spend it in the same unwise manner, and you'll be wondering that, why have I not left this level? That I'm working so hard and I don't really understand what is happening. It's not the witches and wizards in your village. It's because you refused to find out or research the knowledge that is important for you to, make progress.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
God bless you, ma'am. It's been a wonderful night. To wrap it up, I'll just take a comment from our youth pastor, Pastor Nelson.
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. We are grateful. Just one last comment before we call it a day. Is about there are so many youths who have good savings culture, and December is coming, where they will offload all they have saved from January. So they want to enjoy. They said, is that one called delayed gratification? So December, they want to chop the head of their life. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to catch fun. And January, they will start all over again, putting resources together again.
Sorry, so that we take the questions together. There's a final question here, which says that there's a mindset that a struggling man could get his breakthrough by getting married or by having a baby. Well, most probably, the baby will bring the luck. What do you think about this? So, as a wrap-up comment from our two facilitators.
So the first question about people saving all their money and then blowing it in December. So you could have a target saving, right? Maybe, for instance, I could decide, okay, I want to travel at the end of the year, and then I'm setting aside some money aside for that. There's no harm in it. But if it's now all your savings for the year, you now blow everything in December. You now start again from zero again in January. That's just running around. That's just it. It's like sitting in a chair, right? Oscillation without translation. I'm just moving around. I'm not moving forward. That doesn't make sense. But there's no harm in having a target saving. Okay, well, for instance, I might want to buy a car in 10 years or maybe in 2 years, and maybe I see a Rolls Royce I like. I'll save up for it. And once the money is there, I buy. Yeah, no harm. But just saving money, that's why savings, investments, you need to understand what you're trying to do. Do you have a target item you're trying to get? You could save towards, maybe my salary in a month can't help me afford it. I can save towards it. But now saving all your money in 1 year and down blow it, no, that doesn't make sense. Then about you are not financially stable and you are getting married hoping that the baby will bring blessings. Don't tempt God. It's the truth. I mean, it's You are tempting God. No, it's not faith.
They say it's faith.
No.
And you name the baby Coyote.
Name the baby anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Don't tempt God. The thing is, even the Bible says the man that cannot take care of his family is an infidel. It's actually worse than an infidel. So the Bible knows, the Bible understands it. Don't do it. Sort out your life first. Sort out your mess. Don't bring someone else into your mess. It's wickedness. It's unfair.
What if the person you want to get married to is well-to-do?
So that's not a bad idea as well, as long as you are not looking to rely absolutely on your spouse's income, particularly as a man. Men, God has given us, and our culture as well has given us certain responsibilities, certain roles that we need to play. So if you are now banking on, of course, there will be times my wife gave me a substantial amount of money before our wedding as a gift. Of course, I package it and give it back to her somehow. But it's not a bad thing to, as long as both of you understand each other. But you don't have, your spouse doesn't have. Come on, don't tempt God, please. Yeah.
And the pastor that when the child comes.
If that is faith, even whether a pastor, a prophet, or whoever prophesied, I think we should always ask ourselves, and I think that's why it's important. We've spoken a lot about research and knowing what we are doing. Even in faith, you have to know what you are doing. So where does the Bible say that? Don't say, a man of God said it, he prophesied it. As soon as he came down from the mountain and fire came out of his mouth, and therefore you go and do it. No, God expects us, to go and dig into his word and get that firm conviction. That's when we are actually acting in faith, not because somebody charismatic told us this is what we do, or we heard somebody this is what happened to him, then we now feel that that's what God has said would happen to us as well. And then on the other one, I think our brother has addressed it well. But even in these two, I think I want to emphasize again the principle of association or network. We spoke about Psalm 1. Where are you planted? Are you sitting in the seat of the scornful? Are you standing in the way of sinners? Are you rollicking with ungodly? Or even people that, yes, they cloak in church, but you can see that their hearts. Because it's from there that you hear those kind of things. That say, let's make money now. At the end of the year, we'll do everything. We enjoy our lives, as well. Associations are very important. If you look at your friends, in fact, today, that's an assignment for us as youths. Who are the people that we interact with the most? Are there people that they're always complaining about money? There's no money. Nigeria, everything have broken down. There's no, if I could just see 1 million drop from the sky and all of that. Those people are not going to help you because they will keep dampening, your morale and killing any initiative in you. If that is all that you hear all the time. Wake up and start looking for people that are speaking positive, people that are doing positive things, people that are having ideas of how we can work hard and make money and make progress. Not those that are looking for how to scheme, or those that would discourage you when you want to do something that, they are building the new parish. I don't have money, but you know what? Let me even give them money for 1 block of cement. And that person says, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to do that now? What's the meaning of that? They are discouraging you. Those are not the kind of friends that we should keep or have or keep close to us. We have to start, we are going into a new year, field to fit, Abby. Yes. So we have to also make sure that we look at those networks, and delete some contacts. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for giving us the liberty to delete some contacts. When you scroll through your phone and you can see, you can just do the needful. We want to appreciate our guests for coming in here today to help us with these seemingly tough topics in this time that we are facing in our country. For youth in the house, there are different platforms we have learned that you can leverage on to, get a startup. You can develop your skills and all of that. The program continues tomorrow. We are going to be having a word feast tomorrow. It's going to be a pleasant time in God's presence where you'll be hearing the word of God from seasoned youths and ministers of God. And I would like you, it's a physical meeting in this auditorium, and you are highly welcome to join us. Having said that, on Thursday, Wednesday also, this kind of session will be coming live, and on that particular day we'll be having topics that relate to health, and the other one,
Bankruptcy in business.
we will leverage on this, building your business to avoid bankruptcy. I'm sure you want to join all of these sessions. It's been great having you, Mr. Kenny and Mrs. Wando. We are so delighted. Thank you so much. God continue to bless you. With this, we are coming to an end, and I believe that you've been blessed. Remember, if you have any question, you can always reach out, write it out, we would get back to you. All of these people are also our consultants going forward on so many of these matters, and we have free access to them. Not to beg money. Well, we thank God for that. All right, with that, I want to say close. So let's have Mr. Kenny just close for us. Okay. Yeah, just a word of prayer.
We thank you, our Lord and Heavenly Father, for today. We thank you for the interaction we've had. We thank you for all we've been able to learn tonight. Father, Lord, I pray you help us to imbibe this, and the knowledge you've earned today, O Lord God, it shall build us up, each and every one of us, and shall make our lives better in Jesus' name. And as the program continues tomorrow, I pray, Lord, that all that has been planned will go well in Jesus' name. Thank you for answering our prayers. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you.